Dad needs to retire but can't unless his company sells. Are there any other options aside from just waiting for a buyer to come along? This is a Reddit post. I've been looking on Reddit to see what people are saying about buying and selling small businesses. This is pretty common. My father retired from his business recently. This is relevant for many of us. Ideally, this company would have sold by now. Dad's pushing 70. We're concerned about his health, but he maintains he isn't in a position to walk away. I'm the business broker and I speak to many different types of business owners. You will find somebody that's built a business from the ground up, and even though they know they need to retire, it's really hard for them to let go. I don't know all the details, but most of his assets are tied up in the business. Investors have come and gone over the years, and at this point, he's just looking to be done. He needs to be done, but he feels the business is still dependent on him, is what it seemed like. Aside from listing the business for sale, not ideal because it would help his competitors. Good point. Are there any options for him to proactively pursue the sale of his company, like angel investors? That depends on the size of the business. He's not looking to make bank by any means, but would love someone to keep the business going. That is so important. I would say the driving factor for most mom and pop business owners is more than money. It's finding someone who will keep the business going and somebody who will keep it going locally, because most business owners that have had a business for 30 years or so will want to stay in the area. Some will move away, but I think they're going to want to see that business continue to flourish. He maintains he doesn't know what to do. Any suggestions appreciated? Okay, let's see what Reddit says. There was a long period of time with me saying I wanted to sell and me actually being emotionally ready to sell and step away from the business I built from scratch. One way to take an owner's temperature as to whether or not they are actually emotionally ready to step away from the business is to ask, what is the number that a buyer would have to offer for you to hand him the keys to the front door today? If they can give you a number, they're probably ready. If they can't give you a number, they probably can't picture themselves yet and go with the business. It can be a process, I think, that cannot be rushed. And I completely agree with that. If you're trying to help a family member, if you're trying to help your parents or parent to get ready to sell their business, you have to be patient. You have to have a plan in place, or at least encourage them to have a plan in place. Just a thought, why not reach out to competitors directly? Now, this is true. You just have to protect yourself. In a previous video, I said that you would need a non-disclosure, and you also want to have them sign a non-compete before you tell them anything about your business. This is a very viable option. Talk to some of the top employees. That's if he has employees, because remember in the beginning he said he could step away from the business. So maybe he doesn't have key employees that could take over. But that's very viable. Talk to some top employees and see if they want to buy the company. I've seen this happen where company founders sold to top folks that could retire. Yep, it's good. And for SBA financing, if everything with the business checks out and the employee has good credit, it would be relatively straightforward for them to get financing because they're local, they're in the area, and they're already trained and know how to run the business. They would only have to come up with 10% down. You could also have a seller note. The seller could contribute, or the seller could seller finance the whole thing. But that's a really good option, an employee. Your dad appears to be selling self-employment, not a real business. If you have a job, you don't necessarily have anything to sell, so that may be more of a liquidation sale. Okay, so somebody says, I've sold a business before, and you really have to advertise the sale very carefully with the right broker. Don't let it be known publicly, but sign with a well-researched business broker and sign for a 6-month term at a percentage, not a flat fee. This can take a while to sell because many businesses are the type of investment that requires only money. It requires work and some skill to run. This person saying that they did sell their business, but they found a qualified business broker to help them, and they negotiated the terms. Exit strategy is not easy for some people. It might work out well, but in my case, we had 7 businesses, and I just ran them into the dirt and sold the equipment. From what I learned, there's about 50% taxes and things due on day of sale, 25% federal, 10% state, and 10% or 50% lawyer. And or realtor, that's on gross sale price, might be different. What this person is saying that he got hit hid for taxes. In preparation, you need to speak to your accountant about the tax burden that will be incurred when you sell your business. That's why proper planning is important. Prepare. Don't leave it too late. Don't leave it too long, because I've definitely worked with some sellers that they've left it too late, and then you'll probably be looking at just liquidating the assets, like I've said here. Hope this helps.